Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Jackie Jones.
Can you tell us your age or what year you were born?
I was born in 1951, so I'm now 67 years old.
Okay. What year did you arrive in Swansea and how old were you then?
I arrived in Neath in 1972 and I was 21.
Tell us what it was like growing up in Jamaica.
It was very nice. It was free. We had where I was born was right by the sea, so we could just go on the beach every day. We could go and pick mangoes from the trees. It was just very, very free, not like today where you have to worry about your children playing outside. We played outside and it was lovely. Then when I moved from where I was living at the beach, we went to live further inland, and we had coconut trees, avocado trees, orange trees, cocoa from which you get chocolate. We had cocoa trees, oranges, grapefruits, bananas we grew. It was very nice.
Do you have any favourite food and any favourite memories?
My favourite food from Jamaica is probably a dish called ackee and saltfish, which is one of our national dishes. And you can buy ackee in this country in a tin. It comes in a tin.
Your favourite memories?
My memories from when I was a child, or yeah, going to school, going to church, playing with my sister in the garden, playing cricket. One thing that I regret is never having learned to ride a bike and never having learned to swim. Even though I was born by the sea, I was never taught to swim. But apart from that, yeah, good memories of my childhood.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have 9 siblings, but from 2 different families, because I lived when I was little with my father and my stepmother. So my mother and stepfather have other children as well.
What part of the Jamaican culture has stayed with you till date?
Probably my accent and the fact that I still like spicy food and highly seasoned food, and just my upbringing, really.
Okay. Do you take some of your favourite traditions into your current family?
Some of my traditions?
Yeah.
What sort of traditions are you thinking of?
So are there any any particular favourite things that you did back home, whether it's food or...
I never really learned to cook properly when I was at home, because other people did the cooking, so I didn't really learn to cook the Jamaican way. So I've actually figured that out since I've lived over here. Traditions, can you think of any traditions?
Not really.
No, can't think of any traditions really. Because our system is very much based on the British system back in Jamaica, so I can't think of anything that was very, very different.
Schooling was very British, wasn't it?
The schooling is British,
Curriculum.
the British system, yeah. So I can't really think of anything that's traditional, apart from the food.
Did you have any British tradition you also took up, and how did it impact you?
How did the British traditions impact me? Again, apart from maybe speaking with a little bit of a Welsh accent, British traditions, possibly the food, learned how to cook the British way. What
Thankfully, she learnt how to cook the British way, because when we were first married, she used to cook with a lot of spices, but my mother's cooking was bland, and I used to suffer agonies with heartburn. I was living on, antacids, but it's settled down now. Got used to her cooking.
Got used to it, yeah.
What year did you become like a nurse?
I came over from Jamaica specifically to do my nurse training in 1972, so that's when I started nurse training, 1972.
Why did you choose nursing?
Because I care about people. I've always wanted to be involved with people. I like people, and I also care about making people better. Before I came nursing, I was working as a clerical officer with the Kingston and St Andrew Council, and if somebody got ill or injured, I'd be the first one there trying to do something to help them. And that's when I thought, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so it's good to go and train and do something that you want to do, that you're interested in. So that was what I wanted to be.
What was it like working as a nurse?
It had its ups and downs. In the beginning, it was very nice because we lived in the nurses' home there, and there were a lot of overseas and British students living in the nurses' home. So we had great fun because we would be in, as I've said before, in our small kitchen, and we would be cooking our food, different countries cooking food. So you picked up tips from other people. Nursing itself was lovely. I enjoyed doing the training. I didn't pass all my exams immediately, but yeah, it was interesting, and I can honestly say that it was my vocation. It was something I really wanted to do, and I'm glad that I did it.
What hospital did you work at?
I trained in Neath Hospital, and I was there for 5 years before then moving to Morriston Hospital.
What was your role like in the hospital? What did you do?
I was a student nurse, obviously, and then when I finished my training, I worked in accident and emergency in Neath Hospital. Then when I changed to come to Morriston Hospital, I worked in intensive care, and I was in intensive care, the neurosurgical intensive care, dealing with people with head injuries and tumours and anything to do with the head, with the brain really, and the spine. And I worked there for 25 years. And then I went, I had promotion, and I moved then to another job, which was in a department called maxillofacial surgery, again to do with the head and neck. So people with problems with their teeth or their jaw, if their jaws were out of alignment, like, you know, not in straight lines. So that was the last 8 years of my working life.
How did it feel?
How did it feel?
Working at the hospital.
Working at the hospital. It was very nice. It was very friendly hospital, very nice. Towards the end, things started to get a little bit more paperwork, so it wasn't as pleasurable because you had to do a lot of paperwork, whereas before it was more focused on looking after the patients. Still focused on looking after the patients, but with added paperwork. But apart from that, yeah, it was something that I really enjoyed.
What would you say was your greatest career achievement?
That's a very good question. I think maybe looking after the patients who were totally dependent on you. Because a lot of the patients I nursed in intensive care were people who were unconscious and on ventilators, that was breathing for them. So you had to give total care. You had to be there constantly. And if you had to leave for any reason, to go for a break, then you had to ask somebody else to keep an eye on that patient while you went. I think that was probably one of the things I really enjoyed, because you could look after that patient and do everything for that patient.
When did you retire?
I retired almost 7 years ago.
What year was that?
Sorry?
The year?
2011 then?
2011, yeah.
Any last words?
Just thank you very much for helping me to relive these memories. And I'm glad that you girls are interested in finding out more about other people.
Thank you for having us as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been really, really great, I think, having to hear, your stories, and I can't even imagine that in as long as that, there was this amount of care for people, who have been injured. I just compare it to where some of us come from, and how sometimes that's the part that people are neglected, So I think it's great that we would come and give our heart and soul. What would we do if we didn't have great nurses, and people in the medical profession? Yeah, so thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.